Hey guys, how's everyone? Back at it once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome to episode 14 of our MotoGP 15 Career Mode Let's Play. Last time out, we did the double at Le Mans and Mugello, getting back-to-back wins, and we also got a new sponsor with the Alpine Stars sponsor now plastered on the side of our bike. It's a maximum sponsor payout, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, we've got another two races coming up. We got Catalunya and Assen coming up very soon. But first of all, to celebrate this new sponsor, I thought I would show off a brand new livery I came out with. Because, you know, I didn't like that DeWalt sponsorship, so I decided to change it, and this is my new bike design. In case you guys were wondering, yeah, there's definitely a bit of a Kawasaki vibe to this one, and I'm really glad I was able to break this one out. I really like it. The DeWalt yellow was like such a bad color because it didn't really go with anything. Like, it was, you couldn't match up any other yellow with it. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. If you don't like it, let me know. If you've got any better suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments. But yeah, got a couple more rounds coming up, and I hope you guys enjoy that. And whoa, my god, for those guys that are in the know when it comes to MotoGP, this is kind of silly season time at the moment, and trust me on this, like, David Emmett, who's one of my favourite bike journalists to follow, he works for Moto Matters, must follow if you're a MotoGP fan on Twitter, by the way, at Moto Matters, go follow them. Excellent. David Emmett does exceptional work, and he tends to be right more often than not when it comes to these things, and he dropped a nuclear bomb of rumours regarding what's going to happen on next year's grid. I was actually considering making this episode 3 races long and going for an hour just so I could talk about them all. That's how much of a bomb it is at the moment. So, yeah, where do we even start on this? First, let's go right to the very top and talk about probably the best seat that's going to be available, and that's Pramac. Pramac are probably going to drop Yoni Hernandez at the end of the season. I know a couple of people have made the suggestion to me that Yoni is getting a harsh sacking, to which my response is, no, he isn't. One, he's on a Ducati contract, so he'll probably just go to Avintia next year on a GP 14.2, which is actually an upgrade on what he's getting. Well, actually, it's the same bike, actually, because people don't realise Danilo Petrucci, his teammate, is on a GP 14.1, and he's been better than him by 23 points this season, and people are telling me that, oh, Yoni's getting an unfair shake. Not really, to be honest with you. Sorry to break it to you, but he's not actually been that good this season, really, and he's 27. He's probably not going to get any better, so it's kind of a difficult situation, really, where why not take a gamble on? Apparently, Pramac's been thinking about this move for a long time, and they feel that because Danny Kent's had a year in Moto 2, and because he's, his riding style with the new Michelin tires coming in next year, they feel like he's going to be a good fit for that because it's similar to how a Moto 3 bike handles. They feel like he'll be a good fit for him. So Pramac's been thinking this one over. Whoa, not a good start. That's better. Bit wide on that second corner though. But yeah, as I was saying. But, Danny Kent's got two options. Either he takes the MotoGP seat. Either he takes the MotoGP seat with Pramac in 2016, or he moves up with the Kiefer-led Leopard team into Moto 2, because apparently Danny Kent's got a good relationship with his crew chief, and they want to move up into Moto 2 together. That's the other rumour I've heard regarding that. Leopard are going to move up to Moto 2 whatever happens, so that's the two options Kent has on the table. Make of that what you will. If they can't get Danny Kent, the second option for them is Scott Redding, because Scott doesn't like the Honda. Scott's been a bit of a whiny brat ever since he got to MotoGP. He felt like as a rookie, he felt like the open class Honda he was on last year kind of didn't showcase his talent, apparently. So he got what he wanted. He got the factory bike he wanted last year, this year, and he doesn't like it. So now he's talking about Ducati. And it goes back to a test he did with Ducati back in 2012. And apparently it went really well, and he was going faster than Andrea Iannone was. But Iannone got the bump up instead to Pramac, and Redding just stuck around in he stuck around in Moto 2 for another year and would challenge for the championship against Pol Espargaro. But yeah, Redding has been whining a lot this season about that bike, and he feels like the Pramac next year with a GP15 would be a better fit. Don't get me wrong, it probably would be, but you can't just drop the Honda after a year, can you? Like Marco Bartolomei, who is the manager of Mark VDS and Redding's own personal manager, has basically said, you know, if you don't like it, he's got to make a change. I don't want to have a rider on my team that hasn't got a smile on his face. So, begin the talk about Redding possibly going to Pramac if the Honda thing doesn't really work out for him at Mark VDS. If that happens, Mark VDS will go Rabat, because Rabat is desperate for a MotoGP ride next year, apparently. If I've been told, either with Mark VDS or with Aspar. And the thing is, Mark VDS wants to run 2 bikes. But they need an extra £1 million to be able to fund both of them. Like Bartolomei says, I want to run 2 bikes if I can help it, but I need an extra £1 million to be able to run a second bike. That's how crazy the situation is at the moment. And apparently that extra bike might come from buying out the Cardian team, Carol Abraham's bike, that's had a plethora of riders ride for it this year, with Tony Elias filling in last round. We've already had him, Hiroshi Oyama, and obviously Carol ride for that bike since the start of the season's begun. So that's a thing. Apparently they're going to pull out. They're thinking about a switch to World Superbikes instead. And Carol Abraham doesn't want to leave MotoGP, but apparently his dad, who owns the team, does. So that could be a family affair right there. So that's one rumour going around. If Rabat doesn't get that, he might go to Aspar instead. But they're looking to get rid of Nicky Hayden next year, because Hayden looks like he's destined for World Superbikes. Because apparently Hayden wants to be the only guy in history to have ever won a MotoGP title and a World Superbike title. That's never been done before, so that might be Hayden's next chase. That's kind of a big deal there. As for Eugene Laverty, apparently Laverty wants to stay, but I've also been told that, also read that he's keeping his options open and that World Superbike teams are sniffing around. Mostly because Aprilia over there might not have a factory team next year. Apparently something to do with confusion in the rules, from what I've been told. And also, there's also rumours there about BMW, because BMW are thinking about going into World Superbikes next year as well with their HP4. So, you know, all that talk. Also, one more rumour about Bradley Smith's contract. The reason apparently it hasn't been announced yet is because Bradley wants equal treatment to Pole, which is also interesting. There's still some haggling going on with that contract. I think they want to announce it at Silverstone next weekend. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it makes sense. But, yeah, I expect Bradley to be announced at Silverstone, and I expect by the time we get to Misano in 3 weeks' time, we'll probably know what most of the grid's going to look like. Because that's an Italian round, that's Pramac's home turf, that's Speed Up's home turf. Because that's another thing that's going around. It looks very much like Sam Lowes is going to MotoGP next year to headline the Aprilia factory team. Whether Bautista is kept remains to be seen. He probably will be, because Bautista's done a very, very good job for Aprilia so far this season. So that's one to keep half an eye on. So yeah, you know, Rabat, if he doesn't get that job, it's looking like Bradl's going to get cut at the end of the season, and he's going to move on, because I think Bradl's been very unlucky. So, you know, he was unceremoniously dumped from Honda. They brought in Crutchlow. He went to Forward Yamaha, who probably won't be on the grid next season. So, you know, Bradl took that job, struggled to get to grips with the Yamaha, You know, had his seat taken away when Ford Yamaha went tits up money-wise with their boss being done for money laundering. Gone to Aprilia, has actually done pretty darn good for them his first 2 rounds there at Aprilia, matching Bautista stride for stride straight away, and is probably going to lose his job. The only guy I feel worse for is Loris Baz, who's apparently talking to BSB teams at the moment because, you know, his MotoGP seat's going to leave him up the paddle without up the swim without a paddle or something like that, basically, because Baz is going to be out of a job, which is real shame because Baz is like the second best open class runner in the field. I think he's had like 3 open class wins, Loris Baz, this season. Poor guy can't catch a break. So that's most of the MotoGP talk taken up with, because a lot of it also boils down to what happens in Moto2. There's a lot of talk that, Ford Yamaha are not going to be there next year, more than likely. And the Yamaha have already confirmed there's only going to be 4 Yamahas on the grid next year, and they haven't got the time to put another team on those production bikes. So, that's going to be a problem for them. As a result, there's a lot of people talking about buying out those 2 places on the grid. Like, apparently Sito Pons is interested, you know, the guys that run the Pons Moto2 team that have Alex Rins and Luis Salom at the moment. Because basically, Pons is kind of ticked off, apparently, that he gets all this amazing talent like Maverick Vinales, Paul Espargaro, Tito Rabat, and obviously now Alex Rins passing through them, but he can't use them because they jumped up to MotoGP whatever chance they can get. So there's talk that he might want to buy out that forward or that Guardian seat on the grid and have a guy he can take up, like a ladder of support. We're seeing that same kind of thing happen right now with the IO team over in Moto2, who have, you know, the Moto2 champion-elect, Johan Zarco. Zarco is probably going to stay in the class next year. Zarco, it doesn't really make sense for him to move up this year because there isn't going to be any good seats for him. So he's going to stick around next year, and it looks like IO is going to sponsor KTM because a lot of people have forgotten that KTM are coming in 2017 as a factory team. So Johan Zarco could spearline that, and then IO would have a branch. He'd have his own ladder. He'd have a Moto3 team, a 2 team, and a MotoGP team. So that's another room you got to look at as well. So it looks like Zarco will move up. Not this year, but the year after. Like, I know it sounds like he's doing a Rabat and making a mistake that, his stock's only going to go down, but IO has faith in him, and that is such a good environment in that IO Motorsports camp for Zarco. And if he's got a MotoGP seat with his name on it in 2017 anyway, then he might as well stick around, you know? Maybe then try and be the first guy to retain a Moto2 championship. So who replaces Sam Lowes at Speed Up? Most likely Romano Fenati from Moto3. Italian rider, Italian team. I've heard that one come up a good few times. Fenati, who, you know, he's not the best qualifier in the world, but his race pace is good. And probably a good fit for the Speed Up team in general, to be honest with you. If Rabat moves up next year, which is looking ever more likely, it's looking like... MotoVDS are going to announce at Misano who's going to replace that seat if Rabat moves up, because it's looking very much like he will. The headlining rumour I've heard is that Frankie Morbidelli from the Italtrans team is going to fill in instead, alongside Alex Marquez. A good fit. Morbidelli's been very fast in Moto2 for a good couple of years now, and, you know, he seems to have broken the glass ceiling this year by getting his first podium, so not a bad fit, really. That's most of the rumours taken care of. There's still a lot of talk about Fabio Quartararo going to Leopard's Moto2 team next year. Leopard's going to be doing a lot of shuffling because, obviously Kent's going to move up. Kent will not be in Moto3 next year, whatever happens. As we come round the last corner here, it's been a very, very quiet race. I completely slaughtered the opposition here. As we take the win there. Loving the wheelie there. That went very, very well indeed. Can't complain about that one bit. My second win at Catalunya in back-to-back years. And that was an 11-second victory. And we now have a 10-point lead in the championship over Zarco and Lowe's. Nice. But yeah, I've been told whatever happens... I've been told whatever happens that Kent will not be in Moto3 next year. It's just a matter of choice, whether he goes up with Leopard or whether he just takes the Pramac job. But yeah, Vasquez is going as well because Vasquez is going to hit the age limit. Moto3 has an age limit of 28. You cannot be in Moto3 if you're above the age of 28. Vasquez is going to Moto2 next year, looking like with the QMMF team, one of the bottom feeder Moto2 teams. So that kind of leaves 2 seats available. I'm hearing Fabio Quartararo will take one of them. Not sure who the other one is going to be though. That's going to be interesting. I'm not sure whether it's going to go down to 2 bikes instead and just have Hiroki Ono fill in, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Because that's most of the rumours taken care of. Pretty much all of them now, actually. That was a bit of a mouthful, to be honest. There's a lot of interesting stuff there, though, and a lot of stuff I didn't even consider going into it. If you want to read the full thing, I might leave a link to it in the description. It's a great read. I highly recommend it. But yeah, if you want to keep yourselves clued in on the MotoGP City season, go right ahead. It's just kind of an annoying thing that MotoGP City season is a thing where the top 10 seats on the grid are probably close to, if not already confirmed. So, poopy, really. Still, there's a lot of interesting reshuffling going on. I mean, a lot of teams are eyeing up Alex Rins. I know that one for a fact, but like I said, Rins has got like a €450,000 buyout clause in his contract. And teams can't really afford that shit. Right, Assen, let's go. See if we can make it 4 wins on the bounce. Because trust me, if there's one thing I've noticed about this, I've only ever won 1 championship in this mode since I've started doing MotoGP Let's Plays. I just want to win a championship for once, for God's sake. Also going to check the video now, see if there's any comments on the last video that had questions for me to answer. I don't think there was any. Yeah, Brennan asked me one actually. Brennan saying, is it justified to give Danny Kent a double promotion to Pramac when Johan Zarco is completely dominating Moto2? And in my opinion, would be the more sensible option because he's more used to higher powered bikes. Totally. I totally understand what you're saying, Brennan. Trust me on this. Like, if I'm Pramac, I don't see why I'm giving Danny Kent such a big offer. Like, Kent's been good in Moto3 until this season where he's been great this year. But I'm not convinced he's ready for that such an enormous jump. But if I'm Danny Kent, why wouldn't you take it if you were offered it? That's just, you know, my hunch on the whole thing. What am I going to do upgrades-wise here? Level 3 chassis. Why not? Also, we'll tip the gearing down a little bit as well, actually. There we go. But yeah, I mean, if I'm Pramac, I'd probably go after either Scott Redding or Johan Zarco. I mean, I think they're both better options, and I think they're both safer options than Kent. But they seem really, really convinced on this, so why not? God, Assen looks miserable, doesn't it? Jesus. This is one miserable-looking Assen track with a wet track and whatnot. Lost the front on that one. Jeez. I could tell straight away. I was like I was going straight on there. There's Anthony West. It's a wet track. He might start dominating again. Like, I remember in Indianapolis last round where it was raining overnight in Brno, and then Anthony West's odds at the win got slashed from like 200 to 1 to 33 to 1. Because it was raining. We all know Anthony West is a demon whenever it rains in Moto 2. Just like this very race last year where he got just his second career victory. Also, one to look out for in the coming days, I'm very strongly considering putting together my own new top 10 video. My top 10 MotoGP riders of the 21st century. Something that I know a lot of people have been asking me about, because like, who's better than this guy, who's better than that guy, and I've been watching MotoGP since roughly 2000. Whoa, 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 that was terrible. But yeah, like I said, I've been watching MotoGP since roughly 2000, and I've seen a lot of brilliant riders come and go. And I kind of want to talk about that in a video one day, and just talking about who I think, since I started watching, since the turn of the century, who I think the best riders are, you know. My only rule is going to be any rider that's ridden in 2000 onwards is eligible. And yeah, like, I'm still not finished the list yet, and I've still got to write out the script for it, because I don't want to just wing this one. I want to take it kind of seriously. But let's just say this. Number 1 is obvious. 2 to 4, it's like 2, 3, and 4 are close. Like, I'll give you a hint. 27, 99, and 93. They're all pretty close. 5 and 6 were pretty straightforward for me. 7, 8, 9, 10 were tough. Mostly because one thing I've noticed when making this top 10 was that once you get past number 6, you're starting to look at the guys who may have had only 1 or 2 really good seasons. Then you got to start digging up tiebreakers like who was better in the lower classes, you know, who had, you know, longevity, consistency. Whoops, sorry about that. Little things like that, basically. So when you start going down that road, things get a little bit more interesting. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to try and release it early next week. Takes a bit more editing work than some of my usual videos, which, to be honest, doesn't take an awful lot. Like, when I'm making one of these videos, what just happens is I just record the gameplay, my Ava Media records the media separately, and I just upload it. Like, there's no real editing required unless I have to make a little annotations or something like that somewhere. If I feel like I have to correct myself or just clarify something, then that's a small annotation to add it, but that's about it, really. So what the hell is Sam Lowe's leading up the front for? Also, Bike Life fans of mine that listen in on Downforce Radio, just a little announcement. Bike Live is on a 2-week hiatus. Mostly because our producer, Lester Forbes, is off. He's off doing a promotional event somewhere, basically, and he's taking some of his radio equipment gear with him, but not all of it. So they can't really record a live show this week. As a result, we could have either one pre-record a show and put it out some other point, but we just thought it was for the best if we just take a summer break, really. And yeah, we're going to be off for we're going to be off this week, and we're going to be off next week because Lewis Sotheby is going to be at Silverstone. My co-host is going to be at Silverstone representing the Checkered Flag site, doing MotoGP coverage down there for them. So yeah, he gets press passes and shit. What a fucker. But, yeah, no show on Bike Live on Downforce for the next 2 weeks. Bike Live will be back on September the 4th, so you can look forward to that. Hopefully it'll be fun. That's one for you radio fans out there. But yeah, as I say, I'm having a lot more fun recording MotoGP than I am F1 at the minute. Like, I'm not exactly encouraged to pick up a game that's so mediocre. Like, I don't play F1 unless I'm recording an episode. That says a lot right there. This wet track, this rain at Assen is doing me no favours. I don't like the rain. But we're doing alright. Extending the gap over Lowe's. Whoa, 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 went very wide there. Holy shit. That was not clever of me. Pretty much got away with it, though. In fact, I actually gained a 10th through that sector. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, expect an F1 video probably this weekend as well. I've got to do Canada next. Luckily, Canada's one of my more likable tracks, so you'd think I'd be more encouraged to do, to do Canada because it's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, but God, I've just not had a desire to pick up F1 2015 for ages. Jesus Christ. I am not down for that. Also, what's interesting is that if I do well on this race, which is looking ever more likely, I'm going to have enough credits to be able to buy the Kalex chassis. Now, I'm going to have to make the decision here. Do I buy the Kalex chassis and be on the same bike as the top tier runners? But I'm thinking I don't really need to because I'm doing really well on this Tech 3 at the minute. Like, why burn 600,000 credits when I'm probably going to move into MotoGP next year? I just don't see the point. So I'm probably just going to save up my credits and try and get a really good MotoGP bike to start my career with next year. I'm aiming for, obviously, the top tier bikes are 1.2 million credits. The Suzuki is like 1.1. And the Ducati, Yamaha, and Hondas are all 1.2. So I'm just thinking, because I really, really am definitely going to do a MotoGP season this year. Because like the last 2 years I've done a series like this, I've always ended up like just getting to MotoGP, losing motivation, and just not bothering. Like now it's like, now I really want to do it because this game's really good this year. So and people seem to be really like MotoGP wise, it doesn't get amazing views for me, but the people that do watch seem to really like it. So, that alone gives me motivation to keep playing. Don't even know anything about it, is it's harder to read comments because YouTube is broken at the minute for analytics. It's really annoying. Are we really going to win 4 on the bounce, though, for the first time ever, I think, in one of these career modes? I've never done that before. It's crazy. But yeah, this bike just clicks. I think the reason why I'm doing so good on the Tech 3 is because you've got to remember, Moto 2 is basically a spec series. Like, the engines are all the same. The only thing that gets tweaked is the suspension, the brakes. It's the suspension, the brakes, and the chassis. The engines don't get touched. The engine's quite a big factor. Like, when it comes to top-end speed, like, the big reason Suzuki is struggling in MotoGP is because they're losing, like, 10 mile an hour in the straights to the big runners. They haven't got the power to compete. Same deal here, really, obviously just without the engine issues, because everyone's got the same 600cc Honda-powered bike, so to speak, just heavily upgraded. Last lap, then. I love Assen, by the way, I really do. This is a proper bike track. It's like the mecca of bike tracks, really. Like, this is the one where the bike riders really want to win. But yeah, love this place. Especially this bit coming up now, the back section right here coming up any second now. Whoa. Almost lost it there. Coming up towards the back. Whoa, almost lost it there again. Don't push me back, because I am close to the edge. Last chicane for the final time. Don't bump Rossi into the grass. And we take the win at Assen. 4 in a row. Balling.
While the podium finishers make their way to Parc Fermé.
Finally got an Assen win under our belts. And Sam Lowes came second, which is great news, because that now means that we extend our championship lead a little bit further. Now got a 19-point lead in the championship over Johan Zarco. Sam Lowes now 47 behind them. Rabat, after his crash, finished in 9th, which is definitely useful. Up to level 53 now, yay. And another 50, what was that, about 56,000 fans, yeah. So that's the 600k threshold to get the Kalex Moto 2 chassis. And I'm not going to buy it. Because I don't, like, what, I've just run 4 races in a row. Why would I buy a Kalex chassis with no development on it? Doesn't make any sense.
No one could keep up with this.
So yeah, awesome. But yeah, that will just about wrap it up for this episode. One of the shorter ones I've done in recent times. That's probably for the best. I don't really like uploading like 40-minute episodes if I can avoid it. But yeah, this one's turned out quite nice actually. Very, very streamlined and conveniently nice and narrow, which is good. Let me just find. Where do I find my control? I'm just playing my controls right here. Oh, Brad Binder was second in Moto 3. Wow, okay. Marquez 25 points clear on Rossi. Nice to see. But, yeah. I think that will just about do it for this episode. So, I've been Harrison101. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.